The Steam Deck is easily my favorite handheld, and Valve did an awesome job with the OLED model. They didn't just upgrade the screen, they made it all around better with a bigger battery, faster RAM, better cooling, and a more efficient chip. Unfortunately, one of the missing features was Holophix sticks, and it's kind of weird that they weren't included, but as always, if there's a demand, somebody's going to provide. So today, we're going to take a look at the handheld DIY Holophix sticks for the OLED. Now, these are prototypes, so they're a little bit rougher on the edges, but they're fully functional and very easy to install. So let's take a look at what comes in the box and how to install them. The packaging itself is pretty straightforward. It's a white box with some branding and an outline of the Steam Deck OLED with some Holophix sticks. We also have a claim that these are the world's first Holophix sticks for the Steam Deck OLED, and that might be the case, but I'm pretty sure we're going to see some other options in the market. To their credit, they also make sticks for the ROG Ally, for the Legion Go, and for the Switch, so while these might be their first Steam Deck sticks, they do have experience making similar products. All the tools you're going to be needing for this process are included in the box, and from what I can see on their website, that is going to be the case for all retail units as well, so it is pretty cool. You get a blue spudger, you get this pry tool, and this Torx screwdriver that you're going to be needing. This is a big plus for me because not everybody's going to have access to these tools, and it's nice to know that you're not going to have to go track them down. The analog sticks that I got sent are the standard version, and there's two. There's standard and then there's the tighter version. Those are going to be more for like your first person shooters, and the only real difference is that they're going to feel tighter to move around. I believe they're saying it's about 30% tighter. Like I said earlier, these are prototypes, so they're not going to look like this when you get them. These are obviously 3D printed, and one of the caps comes off pretty easy. Again, that should not be an issue for you from what I'm seeing on their website. The finished product actually looks a lot more like the stock sticks, as in these are matte and the ones I'm seeing there are glossy. But I won't get too much into the feel and look at them right now because like I said, these are prototypes, so what matters now is let's go look at the installation process. So the very first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you power off the Steam Deck and take off the 8 screws in the back. Make sure you put these in an area where they're not going to roll away from you or you're not going to lose any of them. Once you're done and before you do anything else, make sure that you take out the SD card. Last thing you want to do is snap it when you're trying to get your brand new sticks on there. Now that we have our precious SD card safely out of the way, we need to pry off the back. And I've always found that the easiest place to start is going to be in that little gap underneath the triggers. Just go ahead and get your pry tool in there and pop it off. And don't worry, the clips on the back are pretty tough, so you're not going to be snapping them off. And even if you accidentally did break one of them, we still have the 8 screws keeping the back plate on there, so it's not a huge concern. Now, once that back cover is off, you can go ahead and disconnect the battery if you want to, but personally I didn't, and the official instruction video doesn't do it either, so I don't think this is going to be a big problem, but it's completely up to you. Moving on, the next step is going to be disconnecting the ribbon cable. And this is a pretty sturdy cable, so I don't think there's going to be any real risk of damaging anything. After that, just go ahead and remove the 3 Torx screws and you should be able to pull the analog stick right out. Now that we have the stock stick out, I want to take a second to compare the Hol sticks to the stock ones. And as you can see, the big difference is that we have 2 little buttons that I'll talk about more here in a little bit. And we have one component here that doesn't let the back cover close all the way, which is why these were not meant to be used for long term. I actually had to do a slight modification on my shell to be able to get it to close, and it wasn't a big thing. I just have to slightly shave down a little post, and once I did that, it closed without any issues. The retail units won't have this problem, so this is only for this specific one, so don't worry about it. I just wanted to make mention of it, because most likely the units that you're going to be getting if you order some are going to look different than this. Now to actually install it, you're going to have to turn it a little bit because the shape of the board's not going to let you just drop it in there unless you want to try removing the analog triggers. I would not recommend doing that. Just go ahead and wiggle it a little bit and it's going to drop right into place. Once that's done, just go ahead and screw it back in and reconnect the ribbon cable and you're pretty much done with the installation. Now I'm going to go ahead and do a shorter version for the other side where I'm not going to be talking over it just in case you wanted to see it, but like I said, the steps are exactly the same, so you shouldn't have any issues with that one. Okay, so now that that's done and we make sure that everything's connected, we need to go ahead and power it on, but don't put the back cover on yet. Once that's done, we need to go into settings, down to controller, and we're going to go to test inputs. And I apologize about the focus in this section. For some reason, my camera just would not cooperate here. So once we're in this section, go ahead and press Y to start the analog test. And as you can see, the sticks are already pretty much centered. And that was the case for me when I originally installed them. But just to be thorough, I went ahead and did it. And we're going to do that right now. The process is actually pretty easy. And it's going to involve the two buttons in the back that I was talking about. The first thing you need to do is to make sure that the analog stick is centered, so go ahead and get that dot right in the middle, and once you have it there, press the top button, and that's going to register that as the center. The next thing we need to do is go ahead and press the bottom button until you see the light flash, and once you do that, you're going to go ahead and rotate the stick clockwise 3 times. After that, press that button again, and you're pretty much done with the calibration. That's all you need to do. Just go ahead and repeat the process on the other stick, and that's it. If you ever installed the OLED sticks for the original Steam Deck, you know that that process was a little bit more of a pain and you actually had to go into desktop mode, into the console command, and it was just more than what I wish it would have been. This process is pretty easy and it only takes a few minutes to get it done. Once you're done calibrating both sides, just put the cover back on, make sure all the screws are back in place, and reinsert your SD card and you're pretty much done. Now let's get into some testing. Even though these were only supposed to be used for testing, like I said, I modified the back shell and I've had it installed for a couple weeks now and they've been holding up just fine. I haven't had any issues and all of the functions you would expect are working just fine. The capacitive touch enables the gyro in games like Doom, so I would say they're pretty much done. I really don't see any potential issues popping up, especially because, like I said, and I can't really stress this enough, these were only supposed to be used for a short period of time. I just went ahead and decided, you know what, let's see how good these really are, and I really like them. There isn't a massive difference between the feel of these and the stock ones. These just kind of glide a little bit better, I guess would be the best way to describe them. Now, if you did want something with more resistance, on their website they do have the tighter version, which is mostly going to be used for like FPS. So the standard ones are going to be retailing for $29.99 and the tighter ones are going to be retailing for $33.99. So those are going to be better for you if you're somebody that likes to play a lot of first person shooters and you do want that extra resistance. That's pretty much the only difference. It's a couple of dollars, so maybe you just want to go ahead and grab those. That's going to be completely up to you. Personally, I like the amount of resistance I got from the standard ones and the stock sticks, so if you're like me and you like that feel, the standard ones are definitely the ones to go with. Now, they are in pre-order, so keep that in mind. This is not something you're going to get right away as soon as you order it, and I'm not 100% sure on when shipping is going to start, but I'll definitely make sure to add that as a pinned comment at the bottom. On their website, they're saying that it's going to be about mid-July, but again, I don't have an exact date for you just yet. Now, the big question is this a must-have upgrade? And the answer is, it depends. So if you're somebody that really doesn't want to worry about getting stick drift or anything like that, then yeah, this is definitely going to be an upgrade that you're going to want to look into. Or if you're somebody that plays a lot of first-person shooters and you feel like the current sticks just don't provide enough tension for you to really get that more precise aim, then yeah, definitely. This is going to be something that's really going to be for a specific person that wants to get something out of their Steam Deck or wants to have, let's say, an insurance policy. But that's pretty much it. It's not a very expensive upgrade, so I don't really think that's too big of a concern. Personally, I went ahead and made the switch on my Steam Deck original one, and I was pretty happy with it, even though I never got drift. It's just something for me, it's a peace of mind. It could just be Nintendo PTSD that, so many Joy-Cons had issues that now we're all just worried about it. But drift isn't the only thing. Like I said a couple times already, the more precise aiming and movement is pretty important to a lot of people. So if you do fall into one of those categories, then I would definitely encourage you to take a look at these. I think this is going to be a solid choice. They definitely nailed it with the price point at $30 or $34, $35, give or take. I think it's a pretty easy decision, and the installation process is really easy, as you just saw. So there are going to be more options in the market if they're not out already, but I can't speak to how easy those are going to be to install or the price on them yet. I will try to get my hands on more of them to offer you a more fair comparison, but for right now, I think the handheld DIY OLED Hall FX sticks are a great option. Well, that's going to wrap the video up. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was informative, and I hope that it was a good guide for you. If you haven't done it already, please don't forget to subscribe. It helps out a lot more than you know, and I'll see you on the next one.